And then the performance without a purpose thing is from David's new book as well. And I found that very interesting because a lot of the time people need an excuse to perform. Mm-hmm. They need a race to be working toward, a goal, a holiday, a photo shoot, a wedding.
Right.
And that is what drives them forward. And, that's not nothing. That's an incredibly powerful, potent motivator.
Yeah.
But
it's worked for a lot of people.
If you can manage to perform without that, that's real power because it means that not only are you going to choose your suffering, but you're going to continue to hit close to your maximum performance with no finish line, no crowd celebrating your completion, no glory, no nothing. And that's why, you carrying this fucking pointless rock up a hill with marker pen on it.
Yeah.
Is with no one there. That's why that's impressive. That's why and that's something that for me, as I've got more mature into my training age, I find it like I like training with my boys more. I was prepared to push myself harder on my own in the past, and now I like to train with my boys and like throw down and get some metal music on, all the rest of it. And that's fun, but it has made me more fragile when it comes to training on my own. I can't push myself as hard. So that's something, having seen you, having spent time with Goggins, that's something that I'm going to try and reintroduce, like that ability to be self-powered as well as use the motivation of others.
Yeah, and Goggins, it seems like he's mastered that because he doesn't post often. So it's... he's doing it every day. His routine. You guys talked about that in detail, and people I think that follow him know his routine, but he's a master of suffering on his own. And I think that's what's given him great power and influence. And you're right, it's not easy. But yeah, I was thinking too about Marcus's writings to himself or meditations to himself or whatever that was. And it's like, so my version of that is I wrote poser on that rock. So that's the only one word. And I just like thinking about, people call me a poser and I'm like, that's all I need. So that's my version of Marcus's deep thoughts.
So Goggins has got a very similar motivation desire that you do. I think I asked him toward the end of the episode, I start saying someone is struggling to do hard things. And he was like, what are the excuses for it? And I said, well, it's cold outside. The couch is warm. His partner's had an argument. And he's saying, keep going. Yeah. And I was like, what? And he says, I need you to keep going. I was like, this is like a sex thing, David. And I was like, you're hungover. You've had a hard day at work. And he's like, yep. And he's like, that shit there makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I know that everybody else is facing that and that everybody else is going to fold with that.
Right.
And I reflected on that segment a good bit. And I've also reflected on your like poser thing as well. And not bitterness or resentment, but the desire to prove other people wrong is a fucking potent fuel.
Yeah.
But it is toxic. I do think that as much as proving other people wrong is great and useful and can get you a good amount of the way there, I do wonder how much peace you find with that. And I asked Goggins that as well. I said, have you found peace? And he says, when you go to war with yourself, you find an awful lot of peace.
Right.
So maybe the only way out is through with stuff like this. But I think we spoke about a good amount in the car yesterday that I want for the people that do this sort of thing, that are going to war with themselves, I do want them to go to bed on a nighttime, having made a sacrifice, having tried to inspire other people, but I want them to be at peace. I don't care about whether they're happy or not, but I do want them to be peaceful.
Right.
And it does make me think, like, if I could gift just a little bit more insight around like how much you impact people, the Davids of the world, et cetera, just to like, like if the guys could have a tiny bit more peace, but if you had a little bit more peace, how much less motivation and discipline would you have? That's
what I was thinking of right then, because I also hear when people say peace like that is I also see a lot of people say the key is balance. And when I think about that, I'm like, if you're balanced, you're probably not doing shit to stand out. You're going to be a lot of people are balanced, they go run a mile, they have a cookie.
Yeah.
Very balanced. You rewarded your effort. The people I know who are the best at what they do are not balanced. And I don't know about how peace relates to that. I I feel at peace in the mountains. At home, I feel like I have a hard time sleeping because I'm like, I should be putting in miles, doing work. I'm wasting time sleeping.
Would you rather life be a way where you were able to sleep for longer? Where you were able to take time off the mountain?
I don't know. I mean, this is all I really know. I know, sacrificing more makes me, it feels like when you're exhausted, like last night, I'm like, we had a good day, good training day, good brotherhood, loved the fellowship. I felt pretty good last night. I was distracted with thinking about this discussion today, because I was kind of intimidated because this is kind of an aside, but all the preparation you do to prepare, to be at your best podcast wise. And I'm like, oh my God, I fucking suck. I don't do anything. It's like everything he does, I do the opposite. And so I was a little intimidated, but I was at peace with the effort yesterday. So but that's not balanced. I mean, because
it's not, and this is where I think it's very interesting looking at the sort of inspiration that guys like you and David give to normal people, right? You are in the top 0.1 percentile of people that do hard things, unchosen suffering on a daily basis. And that inspires a lot of other people. But you hear this a lot, like, I'm glad for the inspiration, but I wouldn't want to live that life. And maybe you could almost see it as kind of like how a scout for an army is going out, that on their own, they're suffering with wilderness and loneliness and foraging for food and all the rest of it.
But for the good of the troops.
What they bring back is the information that makes the rest of the army better. And that's a fucking noble purpose. That's an incredibly noble purpose.
I haven't thought about that before. Yeah. I mean, I do see, because I think, did you ask Goggins, or maybe he's talked about being at, I don't know, the suffering. It's like, how can you be at peace suffering? But yeah, I mean,
when you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace.
Yeah.
He said. But here's another thing as well. We spoke about this before we started, that you can't take part of someone's life, right? Someone can't look at you or Goggins and say, do you know what it is? I really like his approach to training, but I don't want to only sleep 4 hours a night, or permanently feel like I should be out there getting in miles.
Right.
I want Cam's motivation for training, but I don't want to have to deal with like the permanent ambient discontent around not working harder. Dude, you don't get, this isn't an outfit. This is a onesie, right? You have to take every single bit. You have to take the bad childhood. You have to take the loneliness at the age of 13. You have to take the regret for 4 decades about the decision to leave your father. Every single bit of you has contributed to make the person that you are.
Right.
And this is where it's like alchemy, like taking something which is toxic or bad or useless and turning it into something which is positive. That is where the magic lies, I think. And it's the same for me as well, going from, how could I take a childhood where I was alone and flawed, felt like I was flawed, felt like there was something wrong with me and that I needed to find a way to fix that. I needed to find out why. I would obsess over stuff like why people in school tied their ties a certain way, or the type of shoes that they had, or the type of haircut they had. And I'll be adamant that that was the reason that they had a good group of friends and I didn't. And it was because of the fact that they were able to socially connect and I didn't. I didn't have the same social skills that they did.
Right.
But you roll the clock forward 20 years and that level of attention and introspection has meant that I can have insights that I really value. And then I can talk about them and maybe they help some other people too. So on the bright side of a lot of the things that you're ashamed about yourself for are some of the things that you're most proud of yourself for as well. It's a double-edged sword. And on one side is the suffering that you've been through, a lot of it unchosen. And on the other side are the things that people praise you for the most.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my feel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am change, the few endure. Feeling like Cam Hanes.